21 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. When I read about our next guest, I had a flashback of a few years ago when I was on a vacation with my son, and we were on this interstate, and we were kind of on the other side of a hill, but not really. I mean, there was a lot of road behind us, and traffic was absolutely at a dead stop, and so I had, of course, had to stop. And I'm looking in my rearview mirror, and there was a large red truck coming at us. And I thought, oh my God. And my son was sleeping in the passenger seat. And the guy in the truck slammed on his brakes. He must have not been paying attention. And somehow swerved and ended up right next to us. Thank God, never hit us. But how? How is it possible that you can be driving and not paying attention to the rules, not paying attention to the traffic or the circumstances? It just is beyond belief. I am convinced that I have never owned a car that had a working speedometer, because every time I go, whatever the speed limit is, everybody seems to be passing me. Steve Owings has a horrible, tragic story to share with us, but he's taken his own personal tragedy and transformed it into something really good. The thing he has transformed it into is Road Safe America. In 2003, after his son Cullum was killed, same sort of circumstances. His car was stopped at an interstate traffic jam and was crushed from behind by a speeding tractor trailer. Steve Owings, thank you for being on the air to talk about this. Good morning, sir.
Thank you, Larry, for having me. Listening to your story just sounds eerily like what happened to our son, and it was actually a red truck as well.
Is that right? Wow. It was so horrible. I mean, reading your story was horrible. In my case, I was thanking God for the rest of my life ever since that. So what can we do as citizens to make the road safer again?
Well, we've got a golden opportunity, I'm glad to report, right now to do exactly that. There is a proposed rule from the DOT, and the comment period is open. The rule would require big rigs to set their top speed using existing. Well, what we want is for it to apply to existing trucks, because these size trucks have had speed governing capability built into them since the 90s. The thing that's so wrong with the proposed rule is that, incredibly, it would only apply to new trucks when this capability has been on them for 20 years. So we need the public to weigh in. We've made it really easy on our website, roadsafeamerica.org, to weigh in and say, of course, this should obviously apply to existing trucks.
Oh, my gosh.
We need these benefits now.
This is a no-brainer for me. roadsafeamerica.org, is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going there right now. Okay, so, and there I can sign something, a petition or something?
Yes, when you land there, it'll be flashing right in front of you. If you click, it'll give you instructions on how to make a comment to the DOT. There are talking points there and so forth, but it can be as simple or as involved as you want it to be.
Do you know?
But we're the last leading country on earth without such a rule, Larry.
We are? Oh my gosh! Do you know there is one trucking company, and I'm going to say Roadway, or maybe it's no, it's the one that has the name. Oh gosh! But there's one trucking company I've noticed is always going the exact speed limit. And oh my gosh, they're called, like, the name means fast or something.
Oh, I can't remember.
Big rigs in this country already have them set, because it's not only safer, it's profitable. They save a ton of money on fuel and on maintenance, because their tires and brakes both last longer.
Would it apply to the rest of us too? I mean, I would like to see this apply to all of us. I mean, it just doesn't make sense that people are allowed to go 90 miles an hour on a 70-mile-an-hour highway.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but that's a political stretch, even tougher than what we're trying to get done.
Okay, so this would apply to all trucks, not just new trucks. And does this apply to, let's say the U-Haul rent-a-truck and the smaller big trucks?
It applies to the heaviest trucks, those that weigh over 26,000 pounds. So those are the big rigs.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm definitely going to do this. So I click the comment, and where does the comment go when I go to this website? Does it go to a congressperson? Where does it go?
It goes to the U.S. DOT. But speaking of Congress, you're in Florida, and Congressman Diaz-Balart and Senator Bill Nelson are both very influential in the transportation arena. So if your listeners will let them know that they want those men to weigh in on this and say, obviously, this rule should apply to existing trucks. We don't need to wait 20 or 30 years for these benefits. Apply it to all of them.
Okay.
It's just so sad that these that the drivers in general don't use common sense when they are driving.
Well, I'm a businessman. I'm not generally in favor of regulations, and I feel like we've got thousands of them that don't make a lot of sense. But here's one that is just common sense.
It is.
Research is clear that it will save lots of lives. The results are clear. Ontario just published a before and after. They require them at 65, and fatalities involving big rigs have dropped 24%. The capability is already there, and it's profitable. So why in the world wouldn't you require this?
I know. It just makes no sense at all. Wow. I don't think I've ever had an interview where I understood what the point of the interview was so quickly. I mean, this one is a no-brainer. If you're listening right now, share this with everybody. roadsafeamerica.org. Simple as that. Click there, make a comment. So you're not saying yes or no, and there's no template. You actually write your own comment, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Have you lobbied before Congress about this?
We've been working on this. It was the first thing we started working on 13 and a half years ago. And we've got lots of support. When we filed, we were the lead filer to request the rule 10 years ago, and a handful of household name trucking companies like Schneider and J.B. Hunt and Maverick and so forth joined us on that. The American Trucking Association filed their version of it 3 weeks later. It's incredible that it's taken 10 years for the government to get to the point where they suggest this, inadequate solution. So the public needs to demand that this applies to existing, not just new trucks.
Oh, my God. It makes you sick when you realize that this has taken this long. Can I ask a question? If a truck driver is international, in other words, they go across the Canadian border, do they suddenly have to abide by rules that we do not have to abide by?
Yes.
So in Canada, they've got this rule. So those truck drivers already do this, but they don't do it here. Oh, my gosh. Is it an individual truck driver's decision? And how do you enforce this? I mean, if there's... Okay, here's what I don't understand. If there's a speed limit and there's a highway patrolman, why aren't these guys getting tickets? Why isn't the law simply governing this? Why do we have to have a piece of technology that governs this?
Well, the reason for the piece of technology to be required to do this is because trucks simply cannot possibly be stopped. An 80,000-pound rig cannot stop in anywhere near the same distance as a much smaller passenger vehicle in an emergency. So that's what this is trying to address. Plus, there are just not enough enforcement people out there. Lots of people are speeding, and not just trucks.
Steve Owings, you are doing an amazing thing. Thank you for doing it. We're going to do our part by sharing this. roadsafeamerica.org. Simple as that. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Hillary Clinton hits the campaign trail with the First Lady in North Carolina.
The Democrat has a slight lead in the polls and an edge among early voters. More Democrats are casting early ballots than Republicans in North Carolina, but the reverse is true in Florida, where more Republicans are voting early.
Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland.
Clinton has been pushing her economic plans in Florida.
So when you go to the polls, vote to grow the economy, more jobs.